Welcome back to the Bricks. I'm your host, Ken Boyer, here for another quick Bricks update. Here to give a revised NBA draft and, just an update on. I've already gave you my five best available in this draft, but I'm going to go now more so what I feel like teams will pick and who teams should pick, going in the order of the NBA draft. And I had a top five before. Now I'm going to go 1 through 8 because the Detroit Pistons are slated to pick number 8 in the NBA draft. So we're going to start off with the number 1 pick in the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I'm suggesting that the Cavaliers pick Otto Porter. I mean, perfect addition to their team. And they already have Kyrie Irving, so they really don't have a need at point guard, with the person I think is the best player in this draft, in Trey Burke. But I think they may go and select Anthony Bennett from UNLV. I mean, the guy, he's really been impressive in the scouting combines and everything like that, in the NBA combine, and with all his interviews and everything like that. So they feel like he'll be a good pick, and he probably will be a good pick in a draft where I feel like there's maybe 3 players that I think will be all-stars in this draft. I mean, he's a guy who can definitely come in and help their team right away. And I still feel that they should go with Otto Porter, but I'm thinking they're going to take someone like Anthony Bennett for the number 1 pick and surprise everyone. They were thinking about Alex Len and things like that, but I don't think they'll waste the number 1 pick on him. I think they'll be remiss if they didn't look at these other options. But for number 2, the Orlando Magic, I still think that they should take Trey Burke, number 2 overall. I think that, they may be scared away from, getting drafted Jameer Nelson and having the smaller point guards and things like that. But I feel like they should still take a chance on Trey Burke. I feel like he'll be a star, and he really can't be scared of the past and things like that when it goes into drafting, especially when you have a guy that you can draft at this caliber. All scouts and everyone say, hey, Trey Burke may be the best player in this draft, but people shy away because of the size and things like that, and they just look to go elsewhere. And a player who they think that he may, be their guy in Nerlens Noel. I feel like they may go with him, just because, the hype and everything like that from Kentucky. They hoping to do the Anthony Davis mode and, things like that. And honestly, I feel like maybe the Orlando Magic, if they do draft him, maybe they're the only teams that can get away with it because of their history with churning out great NBA centers from that, Shaquille O'Neal and Dwight Howard. But, I mean, they'll just be, greasing them up for another team to take them and make another, championship run or something like that. So, I mean, Orlando Magic, if they were to pick Nerlens Noel, I mean, you really can't question them on that just because of their track record. I think number 3 for the Washington Wizards, I think they should pick up Alex Len. I really feel like they should get a center, a big man down low who's athletic to go along with a guy like John Wall in the backcourt and give him a presence when he attacks. So if they come and collapse on him, when he draw them all to the rim, Alex Len, he's just big enough and athletic enough where he can finish on some of those shots that John Wall misses or grab the rebounds and offensive rebounds, loose balls and things like that. I think it'll really upgrade the athleticism of their overall team. But I feel like they'll, drink the Kool-Aid, and I feel like Ben McLemore will probably fall at number 3, and I think that's who the Washington Wizards will pick up, all because of the hype, and they want to go with the next Ray Allen and more athletic and things like that. So I think they'll probably do that. I guess they figured out to add to their backcourt, but I really feel like what the Wizards need is size there, and I feel like for those reasons I just stated, I think Alex Len would be the pick for them, the right pick. And number 4 with the Charlotte Bobcats, a guy that everybody's been high on, who I've been high on, from the beginning, who I actually put down here on my top 5 before. I feel like Victor Oladipo. That's the guy that's going to be at number 4, and I feel like, the Bobcats aren't going to pass him up. That's the guy that they should pick, and I feel like that's the guy that they will pick, when it comes down to it. So I feel like, they're the ones I feel like that is going to hit on it. I mean, Michael Jordan, I'm sure he loves the way this guy plays, a real elite defender, man, high energy guy, and, his jump that he's made each season when he was at Indiana, and even now on the draft boards, he's going up just because he seems to get better and better and better. So I feel like Victor Oladipo, they won't miss with him. Charlotte Bobcats, one of the best players in this draft. For the Phoenix Suns at number 5, I feel like they should pick Shabazz Muhammad. a guy who I think I heard a lot of scouts really, been talking about and saying, man, this guy's really improving and he's really shooting up on some of the boards. And he may be he's a sneaky guy in this draft. I feel like in this draft, it's not going to be a lot of just clear cut, who we think is going to be the pick. I mean, you're here anywhere from Otto Porter to Anthony Bennett to Nerlens Noel to Alex Len going #1. So I feel like this draft is really is, it's going to fluctuate and there's no telling. And but I feel like the guy that Phoenix Suns will pick instead of Shabazz Muhammad is Cody Zeller. I mean, he just had a workout for them, and they raved about him and everything like that. His interviewing process, and they love him. It's a guy that they love, So unless they shy away from that, from all signs pointing upward as far as their organization, I feel like maybe they'll go with a guy like Cody Zeller. And at #6 for the New Orleans Pelicans, the new name Pelicans. Wow, I mean, this team is going to need someone just to take away from the name. They're going to need a superstar or something just to, get people to look away and not think too much about this travesty of a name that the New Orleans Pelicans. But I feel like they should pick, Anthony Bennett. I feel like this is a guy that he really is going to add some size and dominance and strength in that. As far as the big man, combined with Anthony Davis, I mean, I feel like he needs a physical guy, big, strong, physical guy down low that's going to help him be more athletic and grab the boards and play defense and just have an imposing. They'll have an imposing, front line with those guys. I feel like that'll be outstanding. I feel like with the Pelicans, they may try and go for a guy more like Otto Porter. If he falls and slips down, to that #6 range, I think they'll probably take him. But I think they should really look at that. Have Wall in the back end and Anthony Davis and Anthony Bennett, man. I think that'll be outstanding for them. I mean, and good building blocks for the future. And at #7, Sacramento Kings. I feel like they should get a guy that a lot of people are starting to talk about a little bit more now, and C.J. McCollum, the point guard from Lehigh. And I feel like they really need just a point guard now. They have DeMarcus Cousins down low. I feel like they really just need to, get a guy that really can just facilitate, who's a true point guard. Guy's a true point guard, about 6'4", really long, athletic, man, really good player to get and really just, add to that young, Kings team. I think that's a team that has a lot of young potential and talent, man. I think it'll really add to that. They may go with a guy like Kentavious Pope, a guy who's really been, measuring well, and a lot of scouts and guys have been talking about, and they seem interested in, a guy like that. So they may be holding out for someone like that and may jump on them. I really feel like the thing in this draft, you really need to stay away from the jumps and really just go with needs in this draft, because you can find guys at the positions that you need on your team. And I think that's what you should go more for, not the hype and with all the experts and all these people, talking about. I think you have a lot of solid players in this draft and a lot of people who are good pieces to your basketball team and your organization. I think you should go with that. And last but not least, the Detroit Pistons, the hometown Pistons. I feel like if this guy, slides and it seems, more like it's trending that way, and Trey Burke, they really need a true point guard. They tried the experiments with the Brandon Knights, and you have the Will Bynums, and you had Ben Gordons, and you had Jose Calderon, all these different things. You need a true point guard, to get it in there, with the big man that they have right now in the Pistons. You need a face of that franchise. I think he does so much more because he's a known guy in the state of Michigan, especially after NCAA and tournament and title run. A lot of people know him, so he's a local guy who knows about the things going on around here. And I think adding that will be a lot of support just in the state and in the city, man. You will have people really up trying to come out and support the Pistons, and really, that's a guy that's turned around the Michigan program and took it back to the elite levels. So I think that's a guy for more than one reason, just the talent and being the best available player in the draft. I think he'll do so much for your organization, just getting people back involved and giving the Pistons somebody to really root for and see that this team is going in the right way. With Greg Monroe and Andre Drummond and guys like that down low. I think you have a lot of young pieces that you can work with. You need a true point guard to make some things happen. So Trey Burke, I think, is the guy there, but The Pistons, I'm hoping it's not so. A guy that they may be looking at and itching and looking to jump on, a guy like Michael Carter Williams, is a guy that they might see and say, oh, wow, we have a 6'5", 6'6" point guard. Let's go and try this out, and let's see if we get a guy like that and he can turn and blossom into an elite player, which I just don't see it happening. The guy hasn't played man-to-man, in college, and definitely the Pistons need to step it up on the defensive end in the point guard position, and you can't have a guy getting blown by, on the defensive end. And far as scoring, he's not a dominant scorer. He's a point guard, a true point guard, but I'm not convinced that he's a great point guard or elite point guard, definitely a top 10 pick at point guard. So, or can develop into that. I really just don't see it, man. Syracuse, known for just playing zone and just going out on offense, and just, running plays basically like, street ball, in New York. This is the Rucker. This is the Palace of Auburn Hills. They need a guy. They need a real point guard guy that really understands the feel of the game. And I feel like Trey Burke will be able to do that. Very coachable, a guy like, I seen Michael Carter Williams, in the NCAA tournament, and he just, I didn't like his demeanor, his mindset. You coming into a team who's, losing, and who's just, has just a history of losing and bad decisions and stuff like that, and players who are just kind of sporadic and all over the place and just thrown out there, no real, assimilation of a team and an organization and front office that's in disarray, so I feel like they just need a guy like Trey Burke to just give everybody something to root for and hope for, and a real floor general, and just, allow them to build on something, man. Just build on this and, move forward. So those are my picks. We'll have more coverage later on after the NBA draft. Once again, the draft is this Thursday, June 27th on ESPN. Stay tuned for that. But for now, I'm Ken Boyer for the Bricks. We'll see you soon.